Hi everyone. So in this video, we're going to introduce how to build up a workflow that processes Kafka message using Flink and then perform data analysis on Spark. The table format we'll be using today is Iceberg. So first, let me quickly go through all the products we'll be using today. So the first product would be Flink. So this is basically what we call it, the real-time computing for Apache Flink. So this is basically a fully managed version of Flink developed by Alibaba Cloud in collaboration with the founding team of Apache Flink. And also our table will be stored in OSS, which is the object storage service. And also finally, our data analysis will be done using Spark, and we will handle it using the product named EMR. So we basically have a feature here called EMR Serverless Spark. So it is basically a fully managed serverless version of Spark. Okay, so let's get started. So first, let's go to Flink. And we have already created this workspace called POC Demo 0702. So let's click console and log onto it. And the first thing we'll need to do on Flink is basically create a catalog. So in today's demo, the data storage format will be Iceberg. So we'll firstly need to create an Iceberg catalog. And we can see that we have already created it here. And the process of creating a catalog is basically we click create catalog. And for Iceberg especially, we will need to upload a connector, which we'll send to you later. And then we'll also need to do some further configuration, and we'll also send this corresponding information to you later. And we can take a look at our Iceberg catalog. So here under this Iceberg catalog, we can basically create a set of tables, and all the tables created here under the Iceberg catalog will be in the format of Iceberg. And here we have already created this table. We named it as destination user information. So this is basically for us to handle the storage of data that we processed from Kafka. And after we have created this Iceberg catalog, the next step is that we will need to create a connector to Kafka, right? Because that's basically our data source. So we basically created our connector to Kafka here. And we can take a look that this is basically our configurations. We'll need to configure our connector's name and our topic name in Kafka, and also our Kafka service sort of like address, and also our Kafka's group, and so on. And after we have created this Kafka connector, we basically store all the sort of like message it transfers to us into this table, and we named it as Kafka table. And here we have also created the fields in accordance to basically the message that Kafka is gonna sort of like transfer to us. And just for the purpose of demonstration, we have created this code to basically generate some sort of like fake data to mimic some business activities. And this data basically includes 3 fields, including username, ID, and age. And we'll firstly insert all these generated data into our Kafka table, and then from the Kafka table, we'll basically insert all the information onto our Iceberg table, which is basically stored in our object storage service, and it is managed here in the catalog, as we've shown to you before. So this basically shows us how we handle data processing on Flink. After we have finished the development of this ETL script, we can basically just deploy it, and then we can go to the operations center. And here we'll be able to either cancel or start this whole workflow. And we can also perform a set of managements on this workflow as well. If you're interested, we can explain these features to you later. And also, if we want to try debugging the ETL workflow, we can also click debug. And here we can basically choose our session cluster. So session cluster is basically a place where we build up a development environment, and we can take a look at this. So it basically allow us to build a set of sort of like environment that we can manage all the computing resources and all the configurations only within this environment. So when we are running any sort of like SQL queries or ETL job, and when we need to do some ad hoc debugging or just ad hoc query, we can choose which set of environment we'll use. And here we call it the session clusters. And after deploying the workflow, we know that the data has already been sort of like generated and injected onto Kafka, and then data from Kafka will be injected into our Iceberg table as well. So we can just take a look and check whether we can sort of like find any data on our Iceberg table. So let's run this query and see what would happen. And here we can basically see that all the data that comes from Kafka has been stored in our Iceberg table. So the next step, as we have mentioned before, after we have already processed data from Kafka using Flink and store them in the format of Iceberg, we'll need to do some data analysis on it, right? And we will be using Spark to do this data analysis. So here we'll be using this product name EMR Serverless Spark. And for today's demo, we have also created this workspace named POC Demo 0702. So let's just click into it. And very similarly, the first step that we'll need to do on EMR Serverless Spark is also to create a catalog. And here we have already created this catalog, and this basically helps us handle the data type of Iceberg. And the next step that we'll do is we will need to set up some configurations. And here, let's say the major task that we'll need to do is to select a computing engine. And for this demo, we have selected this JDK17 engine. And since we have already created an engine, we'll not create another one. So let's just go back. And after we have set up the data catalog and the configuration and the computing engine, let's just go to data development. And here we'll be able to sort of like perform any sort of queries on the data. So since we have already created this catalog, we have already connected this EMR Serverless Spark environment with the Flink environment. So we'll be able to do any type of query on the table that we have set up on Flink. So let's see if we sort of like want to select the data from our destination table that we've built up on Flink. Let's see what will happen. And perfect, we'll be able to query all the data there. And if we want to do some sort of like simple data analysis just to find out all the users whose age are above 60, I mean, we have limited the number to 10 though, we can also see if this works. And this one also works. So that's basically it for today's demonstration. Today we have basically went through how to basically use Flink to handle data from Kafka and store them in the format of Iceberg, and also carry out data analysis using EMR Serverless Spark. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us and we'll try our best to sort out all the problems for you.